Every ambition you've ever had, every goal you've set, everything you intend to accomplish, finally boils down to one thing: self-discipline. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Many people think success is glamorous. They see the vehicles, the homes, the freedom, but what they don't see is the price. What they don't see is the self-discipline that binds everything together. Today, I'm going to share with you how to acquire this one trait that will open doors to every chance you've ever wanted. The power of choice. Let's start by realizing something fundamental. Every day when you wake up, you face a sequence of options, and inside those choices is your power. When you establish self-discipline, you are choosing long-term gain above short-term comfort. Take a moment to think about this. The most successful individuals in the world, whether in business, athletics, or the arts, are the ones who continuously make the right judgments, even when it's hard. They recognize that discipline implies freedom. The freedom to live the life they desire because they've done the hard work. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who dreamed of being an entrepreneur, but every day after work, he would squander time watching TV, assuring himself he would start tomorrow. Months slipped into years, until one day he made a decision, one simple but powerful one. He set a schedule. Every evening, he committed just 1 hour to working on his company idea. It wasn't much, but it was steady. Slowly, that 1 hour transformed into success. That's the power of choice united with self-discipline. The 21-day rule. Habits are the heart of self-discipline, and there's something called the 21-day rule. Research shows that if you commit to a new behavior for 21 days straight, you're significantly more likely to sustain it for life. Let's say you want to wake up early. For the next 21 days, set your alarm for the same time every day. Even if it's uncomfortable at first, keep going. Day by day, your body and mind will adjust, and before you realize it, it becomes second nature. One of my pupils battled with time management. He was usually late, always running, and never had time for what counted most. I told him about the 21-day rule, and he decided to start waking up 30 minutes earlier each day. He dedicated that time to preparing his day. Within 3 weeks, his life transformed. His tension dropped, and he became more productive. It all started with 21 days of self-discipline. Overcoming procrastination. Procrastination is the enemy of discipline, but it's something we all suffer with. The key is breaking through it with modest steps. Start with the hardest task of your day, the one you dread most, and work on it for only 5 minutes. That's it. Just 5 minutes. You'll be shocked at how often one modest move starts you moving and leads to real success. There was a moment early in my career when I put off writing my first book. Every day, I'd find a reason to wait. But then I remembered a lesson I often teach: eat that frog. This means doing the toughest, most important thing first. I started by committing simply 30 minutes every morning to writing. Eventually, those 30 minutes turned into hours, and that book became a bestseller. The compound effect of self-discipline builds over time. The modest activities you take now build into the outcomes you see tomorrow. Think of it like investing in yourself. Each disciplined activity is a deposit into your future prosperity. The more you deposit, the larger the return. I knew a man who wished to better his health. He didn't have hours to commit to the gym, so he started small, just 10 minutes a day. He kept persistent, and after a year, just 10 minutes changed him into a stronger, healthier version of himself. He didn't make excuses, he made vision deposits. The role of vision in self-discipline: you must have a clear vision of what you want to achieve. Without vision, discipline has no direction. It's like driving a car without knowing where you're going. Your vision provides you a reason to keep going when things become tough. Whether you're wary, stressed, or feel like the world is against you, your vision is what will keep you moving forward. Years ago, I had a vision of becoming a speaker and inspiring millions. But the path wasn't easy. I experienced rejection after rejection. I could have given up, but my vision was clear. I stayed disciplined, worked to better my skill, and eventually my goal became my reality. Accountability and support. Self-discipline doesn't mean doing everything alone. In reality, accountability is one of the most potent tools for success. Find a mentor, a buddy, or a coach who will hold you accountable. Surround yourself with individuals who encourage you to be better. That external support system can make all the difference. I've seen folks improve their lives simply because they had someone to check in with. An acquaintance of mine wanted to reduce weight, but kept getting off track. He eventually got a coach who held him accountable. Every week, he had to report his progress, and that accountability changed everything. Conclusion and call to action. Self-discipline is a skill, not a talent. It's something anyone can develop if they're prepared to put in the work. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. You don't have to get it right every day, but you do have to keep going. The daily ritual. One of the most fundamental components of self-discipline is having a daily ritual. Success doesn't come from doing one thing flawlessly, but from doing tiny things consistently every day. The morning sets the tone for the entire day. One of the best things you can do to promote self-discipline is to set a daily routine that energizes and concentrates you. It doesn't have to be complicated, just something that reminds you of your mission and helps you begin the day with clarity. I once knew a woman who struggled with focus and energy. Her days would slip away, and she always ended up feeling overwhelmed. But when she introduced a basic morning ritual, just 15 minutes of meditation followed by setting down her priorities, her life began to change. Goals for the day. The productivity soared. She became more disciplined by starting each day with intention. The necessity of persistence became evident to her. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about persistence. There will be days when you slip off track, and that's okay. What's important is that you get back up. Many people give up because they think one failure defines them, but the truth is, failure is part of the journey. Every successful person has suffered setbacks. The difference is that they endure. They don't let one bad day or error destroy their entire journey. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When he was trying to invent the light bulb, he failed over 1,000 times, yet each failure pushed him closer to success. That's the key to self-discipline. Tenacity in the face of hardship. The pain of regret vs. the pain of discipline. You will confront two forms of pain in life: the agony of discipline or the anguish of regret. Discipline might be difficult in the moment, but regret lasts a lifetime. Every time you choose discipline, you're constructing a brighter future. But every time you procrastinate, you are choosing future regret. What type of suffering do you want to live with? I once met a man who always dreamed of becoming a writer, but he never took the time to concentrate on his skill. Years later, he looked back with sorrow, wishing he had been more disciplined. But it was too late. Don't allow that happen to you. Choose the pain of discipline today, and you'll never have to live with regret. Building emotional resilience. Self-discipline isn't just about what you do. It's also about how you control your emotions when things get tough. Emotional resilience is what keeps you going. Life will throw difficulties in your way, and there will be days when nothing goes as planned. But establishing emotional resilience and learning to keep calm under pressure helps you retain discipline even when everything around you is coming apart. I remember a moment when my business faced a major financial issue. It would have been easy to panic or give up, But instead, I stayed focused on my long-term goals. I kept showing up every day, no matter how hard it was, and ultimately, things turned around. That's the power of emotional resiliency, the magic of small wins. One of the most motivating things you can do for yourself is to celebrate tiny accomplishments. These modest triumphs create momentum that keeps you going. When you focus just on the huge, distant goals, it's easy to grow disheartened. But when you divide your goals down into smaller chores and celebrate each win, you generate the motivation to keep going. I once trained a young man who wanted to get in shape. At first, he felt overwhelmed by the notion of dropping 50 pounds, but I encouraged him to focus on tiny goals, reducing only 1 pound a week. Each week, he celebrated those modest triumphs, and before he realized it, he had attained his ultimate goal. Success is built one small win at a time. The influence of environment, your surroundings, plays a big effect in your capacity to stay disciplined. If you surround yourself with distractions, it's more tougher to focus. Take control of your environment. Remove distractions and surround yourself with things that motivate you. Whether it's a tidy workspace, motivating phrases, or just the right people. I had a customer who struggled to focus because his workplace was loaded with distractions, constant noise, clutter, and interruptions. Once he took the time to establish a more focused and serene setting, his productivity soared. His discipline increased because he had set himself up for success. Self-discipline and health. Self-discipline isn't just about mental focus. It's also about taking care of your physical health. Your body is the foundation of all you accomplish. When you eat healthily, exercise consistently, and get adequate sleep, you're setting yourself up to be more disciplined in every area of your life. Your energy levels will grow, your thinking will be clearer, and you'll have the stamina to achieve your goals. I've met several folks who aspired to do big things, but were continuously exhausted and unmotivated. When they started taking better care of their health, eating well, exercising, and sleeping enough, they discovered that their discipline improved. They had more energy to pursue their aspirations. The role of gratitude. Gratitude is an often ignored but powerful aspect of self-discipline. When you take the time to be grateful for what you have, you change your emphasis away from what's lacking. Gratitude keeps you grounded. It helps you stay disciplined since you're not continually chasing the next thing. Instead, you appreciate the accomplishments you've made and the prospects you have. I had a student who was always frustrated because she felt that she wasn't accomplishing her goals fast enough. I encouraged her to start a thankfulness practice, just 5 minutes a day, writing down what she was glad for. It transformed her perspective. She became more disciplined because she wasn't focused on what she didn't have, but on what she had previously achieved. The power of visualization. Visualization is a strong technique in establishing discipline. When you can easily see yourself attaining your goals, you're more driven to stay diligent. Every morning, take a few minutes to close your eyes and imagine your future success. See yourself working hard, keeping disciplined, and attaining your goals. This technique encourages your mind to stay focused on the eventual result. One of my clients wanted to develop a great business but battled with consistency. I advised him to spend 5 minutes each morning imagining himself running a profitable business. This simple technique kept him motivated and focused, and within a year, he had developed a successful corporation. Developing the discipline of time management. Time management is a fundamental component of self-discipline. How you spend your time determines what you achieve. Working smart isn't just about working hard. It's about working efficiently. Use your time wisely. Plan your day the night before and set priorities. Make sure your activities correspond with your goals. I once worked with a young executive who was always busy but never seemed to make significant progress. He was working hard but not working wisely. When he started managing his time better and prioritizing his most critical chores, his productivity and discipline improved. He began achieving more and wasting less time. The role of self-respect and self-discipline. Self-discipline is a sort of self-respect. When you're disciplined, you honor your obligations to yourself. When you pledge yourself to stay disciplined and follow through, you build self-respect. The more you respect yourself, the easier it becomes to stay disciplined. I once knew a man who continually broke vows to himself. He'd claim he'd wake up early, exercise, or concentrate on his goals, but he never followed through. As a result, his self-respect plummeted. But when he started honoring those tiny pledges, his self-discipline and self-respect rose, and he became unstoppable. Learning to say no. Self-discipline frequently comes down to one thing: learning to say no, saying no to distractions, temptations, and everything that doesn't line with your goals. Saying no isn't easy, but it's vital. You only have so much time and energy, and if you're not careful, you'll spend it on things that don't take you closer to your goals. Practice saying no, so that you can say yes to what genuinely matters. I know a woman who wanted to establish her own business, but kept saying yes to things that depleted her time and energy. Social events, helping others with their projects, and distractions. When she started saying no to those activities and concentrated on her business, her progress surged. Discipline is about saying no to say yes to your dreams. Financial discipline. Starting today, commit to becoming the person who accomplishes what needs to be done. Commit to gaining self-discipline and witness how your life transforms. Financial discipline is one of the most crucial parts of self-discipline. How you manage your money indicates your level of self-control. Many individuals suffer financially because they spend impulsively without a strategy, but financial success comes from discipline, living within your means, saving regularly, and investing correctly. I once coached a young couple who were deep in debt. They were making decent money, but lacked discipline in their expenditures. When they learned to construct and keep to a budget, their financial condition turned around. They started saving, paying off debt, and building a bright financial future. Financial discipline is the foundation of long-term wealth. Self-discipline in relationships. Discipline isn't just about attaining personal goals, it's also about the discipline you bring into your relationships. Strong, healthy relationships require the discipline of communication, patience, and understanding. When you're disciplined in how you treat others, you develop stronger bonds. I previously worked with a successful entrepreneur who battled in his personal connections. He was always focused on his business, neglecting his family. When he learned to apply the same discipline to his personal life, setting time apart for his loved ones and communicating openly, his relationships prospered. Discipline isn't just for the office, it's for every element of your life. The role of integrity in self-discipline. Integrity is a fundamental aspect of self-discipline. It's about doing what's right, even when no one is watching. True self-discipline comes from a position of integrity. When you're honest with yourself and others, you're more likely to stay dedicated to your goals and ideals. I met a company leader who made a decision that may have gained him a lot of money, but it wasn't in accordance with his principles. He elected to walk away from the transaction. While it hurt him financially in the near term, his integrity earned him trust and respect in the long run. Discipline is about doing the right thing, even when it's hard. The power of reflection. Self-discipline is not a one-time decision, it's something you cultivate over time. One of the finest methods to strengthen it is by regular reflection. Take time at the end of each day to reflect on what went well and where you can improve. This simple habit holds you accountable to yourself and helps you change as necessary. I once worked with an athlete who was struggling to improve. He had the potential, yet something was missing. When I encouraged him to start a regular reflection practice, analyzing his performance each day, he was able to recognize his deficiencies and make corrections. Over time, his discipline improved, and so did his results. Self-discipline and creativity. Creativity thrives on discipline. It can sound counterintuitive, but the more structure you have, the more freedom you'll find in your creative efforts. Many people think creativity is spontaneous, but the truth is that the best artists, writers, and musicians all have one thing in common: discipline. They turn up every day, whether they feel inspired or not. I had a friend who aspired to be a writer, but he was waiting for inspiration to strike, which rarely arrived. When he committed to writing for an hour every morning, his creativity surged. Discipline provided him the freedom to explore his imagination, and eventually he published his first book. Creativity isn't about waiting for the muse. It's about showing up and doing the work. The value of long-term thinking. Self-discipline demands long-term thinking. It's about making decisions today that will benefit you in the future. Many people struggle with discipline because they focus too much on the short term. But if you adjust your perspective to long-term thinking, you'll find it simpler to stay disciplined. Every action you take today is a seed you're sowing for tomorrow. I remember working with a young investor who wanted to build wealth quickly. He was always chasing the next great thing, but it wasn't working. When he adjusted his focus to long-term, disciplined investing and put little sums down consistently, his financial future changed. His wealth rose slowly over time. Success rarely comes quickly, but with discipline and patience, it's inevitable. The importance of mentors. Having a mentor is one of the most potent ways to develop self-discipline. A good mentor will challenge you, hold you accountable, and guide you when you're off track. A mentor is someone who has already been where you wish to go. They help you avoid mistakes and stay disciplined even when the trip gets rough. Early in my work, I had a mentor who showed me the virtue of constancy. He pushed me to stay disciplined even when I didn't see instant results. Thanks to his guidance, I formed the habits that have supported me throughout my life. A mentor can help you build the self-discipline you need to succeed. The discipline of decision-making. Making judgments swiftly and confidently is a major aspect of self-discipline. Indecision leads to inaction, while disciplined people make decisions and stick to them. The more disciplined you are in decision-making, the more progress you'll make. Don't waste time overthinking. Gather the facts, make a choice, then take action. I had worked with a business owner who was immobilized by indecision. He continually second-guessed himself, which hindered his progress. When he learned to make decisions more quickly and stick to them, his business began to flourish. Discipline in decision-making is important to success. Self-discipline and confidence. Confidence and self-discipline go hand in hand. The more disciplined you are, the more confident you become. When you maintain promises to yourself and stay disciplined, your self-confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself, and that confidence flows over in everything you do. I worked with a young woman who lacked confidence in her abilities. She had huge aspirations, but didn't feel she could fulfill them. When she started practicing self-discipline, making modest, manageable goals, and following through, her confidence grew. Eventually, she became a leader in her industry. Self-discipline generates confidence, which leads to success. The discipline of focus. Focus is a sort of self-discipline. In today's environment, distractions are everywhere, and remaining focused is harder than ever. But those who master focus are the ones who succeed. The trick is to reduce distractions, turn off notifications, dismiss unneeded tabs, and establish an environment that allows you to focus entirely on your goals. I once knew a writer who struggled to finish his tasks because he was frequently distracted. When he started practicing focused work sessions, turning off his phone, dismissing his email, his productivity surged. He finished his book in half the time. Focus is one of the most crucial disciplines you can cultivate. Self-discipline in leadership. Great leaders are disciplined. They lead by example, demonstrating their teams what it means to be committed, focused, and consistent. Leadership isn't about giving commands. It's about setting the standard. When you're disciplined, your team will follow suit. Your acts will inspire them to achieve their best. I previously worked with a CEO who required discipline from his team, but didn't exercise it himself. His company faltered because his team didn't appreciate him. When he began showing up early, keeping focused, and following through on his obligations, everything changed. His crew followed his guidance, and the company thrived. The legacy of self-discipline, the discipline you exercise today, doesn't only affect your life, it produces a legacy. Your discipline will inspire others, even after you're gone. When you practice self-discipline, you're setting an example for the next generation. You're showing them what's possible when you stay devoted to your goals. I once knew a man who was extraordinarily disciplined in all he did. His children and grandchildren admired him for his consistency and hard work. Even after he went away, his legacy of discipline continued on via the individuals he inspired. The discipline you apply today will resound for decades. Self-discipline is the foundation of success. It's not always simple, but it's always worth it. When you cultivate the quality of self-discipline, you create the life you've always dreamed of. So start today. Make the promise to yourself to be disciplined, stay focused, and keep pushing forward. Your future self will thank you. Self-discipline in health and fitness. Self-discipline in health is the foundation for a long and productive life. It's about making consistent, healthy choices every day. When you discipline yourself to exercise frequently, eat correctly, and rest well, you're not only improving your body, you're sharpening your mind and boosting your vitality. I met a man who disregarded his health for years, focusing entirely on work. It caught up with him following a health crisis. He made a pledge to control himself by exercising every morning and eating nutritional foods. His energy grew, his focus improved, and he felt better than ever. Your body is your most significant asset. Treat it with care. The power of delayed satisfaction. Delayed gratification is the core of self-discipline. It's about avoiding short-term joys for long-term success. Most people want immediate benefits, but success comes to those who are ready to delay pleasure. Whether it's saving money, refusing unhealthy eating, or focusing on long-term goals, the ability to defer gratification is vital. I once met an athlete who struggled with diets. He desired immediate fulfillment from eating whatever he wanted. But when he started practicing discipline, foregoing unhealthy snacks for long-term health, he became a champion in his sport. His success came from his ability to wait gratification and keep focused on his ultimate goal. The value of consistency. Self-discipline is about consistency. It's the tiny daily activities that build amazing effects over time. I know a writer who wasn't the most skilled, but he was extraordinarily consistent. He wrote every single day, rain or shine, throughout the years. His talents developed, and he became a best-selling novelist. Consistency is the key to mastery. It's not about talent, it's about turning up every day. Self-discipline and time management are key. Time is your most valuable resource, and managing it successfully demands self-discipline. When you're disciplined with your time, you make progress in every area of your life. Create a schedule and stick to it. Prioritize your most important duties and minimize time wasting distractions. I once worked with a young entrepreneur who frequently felt there weren't enough hours in the day. He was overwhelmed. But when he began managing his time with discipline, carving off time for focused work, and avoiding distractions, his productivity doubled and his business began to expand. Time is precious. Use it wisely. The discipline of emotional control. Self-discipline isn't only about your deeds, it's about your feelings. The capacity to regulate your emotions is a significant sort of discipline. When you're disciplined with your emotions, you don't respond impulsively. You stay cool, make smarter judgments, and manage obstacles with elegance. I knew a leader who battled to control his emotions. He would lose his anger easily, and it harmed his relationships with his crew. But after he learned to manage his emotions, taking a moment to breathe and think before reacting, his leadership improved, and so did his team's performance. Emotional discipline is crucial to success in both life and leadership. Self-discipline and lifetime learning. Lifelong learning is a sort of self-discipline. The most successful people never stop learning. Self-discipline involves committing to ongoing growth. Whether it's reading books, taking courses, or developing new skills, you're always looking for ways to better. I once met a man in his 70s who was still learning. He read books daily, attended conferences, and was continually seeking fresh knowledge. His discipline to constantly studying kept him bright and successful, even in his old years. The more you study, the more you grow. The discipline of accountability. Accountability is a valuable tool for self-discipline. When you have someone to hold you accountable, you're more likely to stay on target. Find a mentor, coach, or accountability partner who will challenge you to stay disciplined. When someone else expects you to follow through, it provides an added element of drive. I had a customer who struggled to stay disciplined on his own, but when he began working with an accountability partner, everything changed. Knowing that someone was counting on him helped him stay focused and committed to his goals. Accountability is one of the most effective strategies to establish discipline. Self-discipline in overcoming procrastination. Procrastination is the enemy of self-discipline. To acquire discipline, you must learn to fight procrastination. The secret to defeating procrastination is to take quick action. Don't wait for the perfect time or the appropriate mood. Just start. Discipline implies doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. I knew a student who always procrastinated on assignments. He would wait until the last minute and stress himself out. But after he started practicing self-discipline, establishing deadlines, and taking fast action, his grades improved, and he felt more in charge. Procrastination is a habit, but so is discipline. Choose discipline. The discipline of saying yes to the proper possibilities. Discipline isn't just about saying no. It's also about understanding when to say yes to the proper opportunity. Sometimes, opportunities fit perfectly with your ambitions. Discipline involves having the fortitude to say yes and take action. Recognize when a chance fits with your vision and be ready to grasp it. I knew a woman who was offered a promotion that aligned perfectly with her work ambitions. At first, she was hesitant, but she recognized it was the appropriate chance. She disciplined herself to venture out of her comfort zone and take on the task. It turned out to be the best decision she ever made. Discipline is about knowing when to say yes to the proper things. Self-discipline and patience. Patience is a sort of self-discipline. Success doesn't happen immediately, and the ability to wait and stay dedicated is vital. Discipline is staying focused on the long-term vision, even when progress is slow. Be patient, keep working, and trust the process. I met an artist who struggled to acquire recognition for his work. He was tempted to give up, but he stayed focused, owning his skill every day. Over time, his patience paid off, and his painting earned the recognition it deserved. Success takes time, but with discipline and patience, it will come. Self-discipline in creating habits. Habits are the building blocks of self-discipline. The more beneficial habits you create, the simpler discipline becomes. Your habits decide your future. When you build disciplined habits, achievement becomes automatic. Start small, create consistency, and watch your life transform. I worked with a man who struggled with productivity. He had lofty aspirations but lacked everyday discipline. When he started focused on creating modest, consistent habits, like waking up early, exercising, and planning his day, everything altered. His productivity exploded, and he fulfilled his goals faster than ever. Discipline begins with habits. The discipline of sacrifice. Sacrifice is a vital aspect of self-discipline. To reach your goals, you'll need to give up things that don't serve your purpose, whether it's bad habits, distractions, or comfort. Discipline involves making sacrifices today for the rewards of tomorrow. I previously worked with a young entrepreneur who loved spending time with friends and going out. But when he recognized it was taking him away from his business ambitions, he made the sacrifice to stay in and focus on his work. It wasn't easy, but his sacrifice paid off, and his business became a success. Discipline requires giving up what's easy for what's meaningful.